Peter, thank you for coming today. So you are one of the most experienced drivers in the Switzer-CARTY, and you also been a police officer. And I would like to know what is your advice to the drivers who are not following the Highway Traffic Act and they ignoring to do pre-trip inspection, for example. Let's start with pre-trip inspection.
Well, pre-trip inspections are very, very important. You are going to put children on your bus or customers, they could be adults, and you're responsible for their lives. You have to realize that government does not take that easy. There are certain things that you should absolutely refuse to drive your bus because there's, let's say, fogged window in your thermal paint. Well, that makes that bus unsafe. It is a major, major fault. And if the ministry sees you, they will immediately pull you over and write you up for that. And if it's not in your logbook, well, it shouldn't even be in your logbook or the daily log, because that bus should not be on the road. And it's going to cost you points, it's going to cost you time, and that's just one of the major things. But things like your oil, you have to check that every day. You don't want to be going down and all of a sudden have your motor blow up. But probably wouldn't do it with the safety devices, but it will stop working on you. And then you'll be there thinking, what's wrong? Well, you should know what's wrong. You should know your bus. So the check in the morning is so vital to how your day is going to operate. And if you should get stopped, you better be sure that things are right when the officer looks at that logbook. Do you want to use the excuse, oh, I guess that brake light just went out? I wouldn't want to use it. If it was out for a couple days, that's not a wise thing to leave out of your logbook. And remember, after the mechanics do the work on your bus, there's a spot for them to sign off on that bus. And if it hasn't been done, you should bring it in and make sure that the work has been done and the log is signed. So do what you think's right. Do not take shortcuts because it's costly.
Peter, tell me, what is your advice to the drivers who are not doing their hours of service?
Well, that's when you can get caught on real easy. If you're sitting around and on the road parked waiting for your school to dismiss or waiting for your first pickup, and an officer comes up to you and wants to see those hours of service, I hope it's up to date. I hope at that point of time you have marked in there that that vehicle is not moving. I'm sure that any officer who stops you when the bus is rolling will give you the opportunity, because you don't know you're going to get stopped, will give you the opportunity to end, like to show that you stopped and that you were stopped by the police or the ministry. But if you're just sitting there and they come up, it better be up to date, because that's another thing they like to do.
And Peter, I have one more question for you. It is about the drivers who are not using the school lights when they're loading and unloading children.
When I'm on the road, and being a charter driver, I'm not always at schools and whatnot. And you have to remember, when you're doing a school run, the only time you don't have to use them is when you're actually in the designated school bus loading zone. Not across the street from it, not around the corner from it. You have to actually be in it. So I've seen it numerous times where buses stop and do not activate their lights. That's there for safety purposes. And we all complain about when somebody goes through our lights. And then I think, how many buses don't activate them when they should be? And so, if you're gonna complain about it, you better make sure you're activating them. And I'm quite sure if a police officer sees you not activating your lights, he will be speaking to you. And it's your demerit point, it's your license. So, good luck, folks. You just better do what you're required by law to do.
Thank you very much, Peter.
Okay, you're welcome.